Welcome back to the Cellercise program for Monday Night Live. I want to wish everybody a happy Valentine's Day since we won't be here next week. We had a little technical difficulty. We've got a great technician here who is going to see what he can do about keeping us online tonight as we work with a new camera, a new mic system. And if you can hear us, if the mic is working, if we can get a thumbs up, that would be really helpful. We've got a lot to go over tonight. We're going to talk about the very most important movement you can do on a rebounder and why that works. But first, I'd like to read some of the customer reviews, answer some of the questions. If you have a question, please feel free to go ahead and type it up. Justice is right next to me and he's going to feed those questions to us. So thank you. This comes from Beth. Beth writes, first let me say how much I love my Cellerciser bifold. I started with an urban rebounder in February 2022. I chose a less expensive model in case I did not like rebounding. It was actually so much fun and I enjoyed my workouts, but I was not sure about it being jarring to my body over time, so I slowly stopped using it. I then purchased a JumpSport 350 Pro during a holiday sale in December 2023, and I do enjoy the bounce, but I felt it difficult to keep my motivation and consistently work out. I seem to prefer the bounce of a spring rebounder when working out. After hearing both Dave Hall and the Trophy twins, I Jump Instead, sing the praises of the Cellerciser, I purchased one from this website in May of 2025. I found my Goldilocks rebounder and my son and husband, who are both 6'2", could use it as well. It is important to note that I am 55 years old and post-menopause, so it is more difficult to lose weight and build muscle. I have lost 10 pounds and I'm building significant muscle tone. I want to comment on that a little bit because one of the advantages of the Cellerciser is we do have resistance. If a unit is too soft, you have to work really hard to get results. When the Cellerciser, you use the Cellerciser, you don't have to work hard. You can play on it, it'll work hard on you. But you can do more intense movements, it's simply going to give you faster results. But without the resistance, we don't get the benefits we're looking for. Kurt writes, hello Dave, I'm a very happy customer and have had my rebounder for almost over 20 years now. Great product. You were kind enough to send me some replacement cleats. Those were the springs connect to on the mat. He called them cleats, we call them bullhorns. A couple years ago when I broke a few of them from overuse. Well, now my mat is wearing out around the edges. See pictures. I was wondering if I could purchase a new mat from you to replace it. And the answer is yes. I weigh 225 pounds and use it for 25 minutes at a time, 5 times a week. So over the years, it has really stood the test of time. Absolutely incredible product. I want to thank Kurt for sharing that, and I wanted to comment on it. My unit is over 23 years old, and it's in excellent condition, and it will stay that way. I believe it should last for decades. When we land on the actual stitching on the unit by doing jumping jacks or if we're jumping too high, if we land on the stitching around the edging, the stitching can break down. It's a great stitching. It's a 4-ply polyester thread. It can last for decades, but if you land on it over and over, we can make it weaker. And that's what ended up happening on his. So if we avoid landing on the stitching, it should go for decades. All right. Lori writes, use mine a minimum 1 hour a day. My body and mind have never been this healthy. My muscles were never this defined with conventional exercise. Thank you, Lori. And one of the things that I mentioned on Cellerciser works as an isometric for toning. It's an isotonic for building. It's all weight bearing. It's a calisthenic for targeting. We can target different areas of the body, but the rest of the body is always involved. It's an aerobic for conditioning, and it's a flexibility program without ever having to stretch. Katerina writes, I'm so grateful to have found out about Cellerciser through I Jump Instead on YouTube. And this is Sally and Stephanie again. They have done wonders in the industry, and we salute them for it and thank them. She says, I have been using it for about a year now with incredible results, especially during pregnancy and postpartum. I was able to use the Cellerciser rebounder throughout my entire pregnancy, right up to the last 3 to 4 weeks. With my previous 2 pregnancies, I ended up with a 2.5 fingered diastasis recti gap postpartum. This time immediately after birth and before doing any exercise, my gap measured only 1.5 fingers. That's a huge improvement. And I'm convinced it's because of Cellerciser, because rebounding and occasional walking was the only form of exercise I did during this pregnancy. I might add that when you Cellercise, you're massaging all the tissue. Every day you're on it. You're improving circulation, so body responses are more effective. My wife, in her last pregnancy, had a 10-minute delivery. I mean, everything was just working so well. And on her last few weeks of Cellercising, we would lay her down on the Cellerciser, put her feet up on a chair, and I would just gently bounce her up and down. And she loved that feeling. I'm sure the baby did too, because you can gently move up and down, rock side to side. And when you're done having a child, sitting down, sitting back, bouncing up and down can help promote contractions, lift, tighten, and tone the internal structure far more effectively and efficiently. She says, I also noticed a dramatic difference during labor. My 2 previous labors were extremely painful for hours, but this time I barely felt my contractions until it was actually time to deliver. And again, the moving up and down massages the tissue, so it's more responsive. I can't say for sure, but I strongly believe the Cellerciser contributed to that as well. We've heard that before. Thank you, Katerina. Postpartum recovery was also very different for me. With my first two pregnancies, my pelvic floor felt unstable and weak, and I experienced a noticeable heaviness for months. I fully expected the same, especially after a 3rd delivery, but I didn't experience that feeling at all this time. In fact, I was able to bounce gently on the Cellerciser just 3 weeks postpartum without any pelvic floor heaviness. With my previous pregnancy using a different brand rebounder, I couldn't jump for months because it felt uncomfortable and just not right. The difference this time was remarkable. Another unexpected benefit has been the energy boost. Whenever I get on the rebounder, even for just a couple of minutes, I feel a surge of energy, almost like having a cup of coffee. And that's right, we've had that comment many times, because the moving up and down acts as a stimulant on the thyroid, the adrenals. Everything is expanding, contracting, expanding, contracting. The entire body is working collectively as a whole. So thank you. It's the best wake-up call that I believe we can do. It's even helped me cut down on caffeine because bouncing gives me that lift I need naturally. It has also been extremely effective at calming my baby. If I hold the baby and bounce very gently, the soothing motion puts the baby to sleep incredibly fast. And that's exactly what I did with all of my children. It's a great way to burp a baby too, by the way. You put the baby over your shoulder and gently move up and down. The baby loves it, but so does your body. So when you lay the baby back down, you can go back to sleep too. You haven't built up all the stress or tension in the body. It has become one of my favorite ways to settle the baby when nothing else works. We've loved the Cellerciser so much that we've purchased 3 units. We keep 2 in our living room because whenever I jump, my kids want to join in. The 3rd one we bought specifically to let others borrow, because people often don't believe how effective it is until they try it themselves. The Cellerciser has truly been a blessing for our health, energy, pregnancy, postpartum healing, and even calming our baby. I couldn't recommend it more highly. Katerina, you gave us so much great material there. I hope people had a chance to listen. If you know people that are going through pregnancy or have even delivered, one of the other techniques that we do is to sit down on the Cellerciser. See, our camera follows us. This is great. Sit down on the Cellerciser, and you can put your hands right by your hip to help support you. But the moment you sit down and tilt backwards a little bit, all the muscles here firm up. As you gently move up and down, the internal structure has weight on it, and all the connective tissues can start to firm up again. And so that's a great postpartum exercise that we can do for improving. Oh, didn't follow me, I went too fast. Can you double click on that? Nope, he got me. Okay, we're learning about it. All right, Rick writes, my body is 77 years old. The energy that animates it is ageless. And I've had my trifold model since November 11th, 2019. Not quite a decade like Mr. Hall's, and it's also showing no signs of sagging. It's as good as it was the day that I took it out of the box. I actually enjoy using it. Thank you, Rick. And that's what we do. We make a quality unit. We will not compromise the quality while I'm still in the industry. Okay. D Pet Sitter writes, I absolutely love my Cellerciser and tell everyone about it. My body composition has completely changed and I feel so much better. Why work out when you can play in? Love it. Thank you so much. You guys are great. Deborah writes, I encourage my husband with Parkinson's disease to bounce on my Cellerciser and cheer him on. It's really helping him with balance and digestive issues. He's 74 and I'm so grateful for this wonderful gift that our kids gave us. Deborah, thank you so much. We have a neighbor, another street over, also dealing with that same issue. And he's so grateful too. Can't imagine his life without it. Starts off every day with it, and he says the same thing, it makes a big difference. This is from Formed by Nature. I'm almost done completing the achievements on my Cellerciser app. I have 685 total points, almost to the trophy. Love your app. And Formed by Nature. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. The app, we've got more improvements that we're doing. We've got a new avatar we were going to show, but we had some electronic issues with the big screen. We're going to have this available the next time around, and it's going to be a lot of fun for all of us. I don't know how to turn that back off. Okay. Okay. There we go. All right. Electronics, don't you love them? I do. That's great. All right. Questions. If somebody had a full knee replacement, can they still use the Cellerciser? Absolutely. In fact, it's important. We've had people with double hip replacement, people with knee replacements, and for rehab and helping the knee, we can do different movements. Just the baby bounce warms up the tissue. The gentle hip rock is great. It's not going to do a lot for the knee, but it does great for the hips. And then the Jamba walk. And that's how we start to build up the knee. When we get better, we can come down, jump up, come down, jump up, and we start to get more flexibility and strength in the knee again. Yes, Justice?
Lisa asks, what have others reported about detoxification?
Oh, just like what we read. It's got a great detox. You want to drink lots of water, especially. I tell everybody that, drink lots of water, because Cellerciser acts like an internal scrub brush. You have enough resistance as you're moving up and down that we believe it can help break up heavy metals, toxins, poisons, preservatives, chemicals, pesticides, herbicides, formaldehydes, drugs, plastics, the list goes on and on. So when you're moving up and down, so is all the fluid in the body. And as we release that, we want to drink lots of water. When we do the gentle twist, which is this gentle movement right here, which is the second most important, we'll talk about that next time around. Second most important movement we can do. That one's taking the colon and the intestines, the smooth muscles, and massaging them. It's like putting them through a little washing machine to help improve digestion, elimination. But you're also massaging liver, kidneys, spleen, gallbladder, pancreas, adrenals as well. So all these internal organs moving up and down with a gentle twist. We're literally massaging all from the inside out. But as we release those toxins and those drugs and those things that have accumulated within fat cells and tendons and ligaments and our connective tissues, we want to drink lots of water so we can flush them out. We don't want them depositing somewhere else. Great, thank you, Lisa. Great question. Okay, Tammy writes, how can I safely clean the mat of my Cellerciser that won't degrade the fibers on it? Soap and water. That mat material is space age. This is not your typical canvas, nylon, or plastic mats that you can find in other units. This mat material, it's a polypropylene, but it's not just a polypropylene. It's a polypropylene where every single fiber is put under nearly 200 tons of pressure. It's extremely dense. I had one outside in the rain, the sun, and the snow for 19 years now. The mat's fine. The webbing around the outside, which is also polypropylene, but it's not put under 200 tons of pressure. So it's starting to get weak. And the stitches are getting 19 years out in this directly, the sun, the rain, the snow. So yeah, just some soap and water. Just spray it off and you're fine, or just a damp cloth if that's what you want to. Ellen writes, good morning, Dave. What exercises would you use for plantar fasciitis? And I thought we'd answer that one. Maybe we did last time. Okay, so gentle movement up and down like this. We had that call, or this one come in earlier today too. So I'm just bouncing it with my knees. Hold the knees kind of over the toes to warm up the tissue. Very little movement in the foot, but it's warming up the tissue. Then we can lift the heels up and down. And we start to work all the supporting muscles underneath the foot, the fascia. All of that is going to be challenged a little bit. And over generally within 2 to 3 weeks, severe cases within a month, that's gone away. We've increased flexibility and circulation again in the fascia. It's been wonderful, and I'd love to hear your reviews because obviously results vary. But we've got some great customer reviews on our website with people that just didn't think initially it was going to be effective, but they kept at it and then it was gone. And you can read their reviews. Lily says, oh, can you post a video about plantar fasciitis exercise? Yeah, we can do that. Okay, let's make a note of that. Deb writes, can you just buy the handle to attach to one that's already purchased? What is it between the two bars, the narrow one and the wider one in the bifold? The narrow one takes up less space. The more wider one cuts across and takes up a little more room on the unit. This one's 5 pieces. The wider bar, 7 pieces. They both work. Paula writes, had a hip replacement September 11th. Is it okay to get back on the rebounder? I'm still doing physical therapy once a week. Last x-ray showed everything looks good. I still get stiff and sore, and I'm thinking rebounding will help with that. Yeah, I'm sure it will. Moving up and down increases circulation. Consult with your doctor as long as you're not limited in your activities. This Cellerciser is going to help improve circulation, flexibility of the tissue, and strength. So gentle movement up and down to warm it up. Gentle hip rock side to side to start to strengthen and rehabilitate that whole area of the body. Kathy writes, do you need to bend your knees a little when doing the health bounce? No, you can. It works a little differently. So if you lift your heels up and down, you're going to be working the calf muscle. And that's good because the calf muscle it's a second heart. It pumps circulation to the heart. We want healthy calf muscles. And so this one here, definitely going to do that. And then bending at the knee, pushing down into the mat is also going to give it a lot of the same benefits, but it's a little different in that it's going to work more of the circulation in the thighs, a little more intense, and strengthen the whole front part of the knee. So it's just this one here, or walking, pushing down is going to be more limited to the muscles and the knees, but just bouncing up and down like that. And again, natural is what babies do the moment they stand up in the crib. Okay. Can you buy the handle to attach to one that's already been purchased? Yes. Okay, Paul writes, yes, okay. Kathy writes, so you need to bend your knees a little when doing the health mask? Nope, you don't need to. Ellen writes, okay, we did that one. Okay, can you please show us some exercises for the eyes? Yes, if you create an eye chart, put it up on the window. Put the Cellerciser close enough so that you can read the eye chart. You want to read it from right to left, up and down, diagonal, backwards and forwards. And as you're reading, you do that for a few moments and then look through the window at something at a distance and focus at a distance for a few moments and then come back at a few moments and just back and forth. You're working the muscles of the eye. You're increasing circulation to promote flexibility. The eye itself is flexing with the muscles, and the Cellerciser is also flexing those cells of that eye, why it pumps and improves circulation. And we've had some great comments with that. There's other factors involved, so it's important to see a doctor if you're having eye issues as well. Douglas writes, can you show us some pelvic floor routines? I know you've done this, but I appreciate the refresher. Thanks.
They just want you to know the camera doesn't go below your knees.
Oh, was it? Ah.
Because it's only so they don't know what's going on.
Ah, okay. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so basically it's like this. Thank you for letting us know that. We will make a note and figure out. You should be able to help direct it too eventually.
It'll just stop.
Yeah, follow me.
Face.
Okay,
But
we'll work on it. We'll work on it. Okay, pelvic floor routines. All right, so there's several. One, if you're doing just the standing bounce, you just tighten that whole area like a Kegel method. Just tighten the muscles, gently bounce. So you have a little additional support on the outside while the internal structure starts to firm up. Another one that's very effective is to sit down on the Cellerciser. There you go. You followed me, right? Yeah. All right, so you put hands by your hips and bounce up and down like this, tilt backwards a little bit so that you have a little additional support on the internal structure. As you move up and down, all these muscles, the moment you tilt, are going to be tight anyway. And as you move up and down, the internal structure has a little additional support while those connective tissues start to firm up. Fantastic technique and wonderful for strengthening the bladder and the sphincter muscle as well. Okay, next. How long do you have to wait after having hip replacement before you can rebound? And that's, again, it depends on check with your doctor to find out what restrictions you have, how soon you can walk. Usually they know that bones and muscles heal faster and grow stronger when exposed to some stress. Again, that's the idea behind the walking cast as well. So this moving up and down helps promote more circulation, faster circulation, better circulation, so that the cell membranes themselves can get stronger as well. And then just walking in place, just eventually you warm up first and then just gently rocking from one foot to the other, just slightly. You can control the amount of effort you put into it as you start to build that up again. Yes, Justice?
Kelly's just wondering, does that work arms too, the sitting bounce?
Not the same as some of the other movements, because it depends on how you're doing it. When you get to the point where you get stronger in the pelvic area and you can lift your arms and bounce up and down, now you're working more of the arms. As you get stronger, step on, bounce up and down. This is all it's working arms as well, but there's more effective ways of working the arms. The Cellerciser alone, just moving up and down, is weight bearing on the arms. And we've had many people say, in fact, my wife, when I first started doing it, noticed my arms were bigger after 1 month of Cellercising. And she asked me, she says, "Are you lifting weights?" No weight lifting, all weight bearing. So it's just what it does. Okay, and you're not going to get big bulky muscles, but you'll get toned, stronger muscles. I had a knee repair. Yes, Justice, go ahead. Good question.
Sherry says, "Hello, Dave. Please help. I'm so frustrated. I'm 69 years young and about 20 pounds overweight. You suggested to me once to do the 20-minute flat loss routine on the app, which is the one with the consistent Jamba Run. I've been doing this every day for 2 months and no weight loss or change my body at all. Please help with any suggestions. Thank you so much, Dave."
You bet. Okay, so you are changing your body. You may not be seeing it, but muscle weighs more than fat. So if you're measuring just the weight, you may not see it. It's important to measure inches because your body will burn fuel. If you want to lose weight a little faster, just make sure you're not eating a big meal at night. A lot of people want to lose weight, but they eat a great big meal at night and they don't feel like they're really losing weight effectively. Well, that's because when you eat a meal, your body has one of two options. It's either going to burn it or it's going to store it. When you eat a big meal at night, you're not very active. Your body's going to store it. And so many people eat their big meal at nighttime. And that's one of the big problems. So if you can eat a bigger meal in the morning, medium meal in the afternoon, and a small meal at night, and then do your Cellercising, you'll increase metabolic processes and help burn the energy faster. But these muscles, these are the big engines. They need a lot of fuel, and they burn a lot of fuel. So when you do the Jamba walk, and or the Jamba Run, either one, you're just pushing into the mat, those muscles, they're like big generators. You'll feel that generally within 20 seconds. That means it's working. And when you're done with the first set, then stand there and gently bounce up and down. Lift the heels up and down a little bit to feed more fuel back to the thighs. And then once you've refueled them again, do it again. This is a great technique. I used to do that a lot when I was doing shows and programs. I lost too much weight. I had to back off of it. I dropped down to 3% body fat. I may have shared this with you recently. I went to the doctor did a physical, said, Dave, you're in excellent shape. You got the metabolism of a 19-year-old. I said, that's not normal. They said, it's just your body type. It wasn't. It was too much of the Jamba Run. When you do it effectively and you do enough of it, you'll burn through the glucose and sugars in the bloodstream very quickly. If you continue to put a demand on the body, it needs more fuel. It has to find it, and it's going to go after the white adipose tissue. That's our stored fuel, our stored calories. So, yeah, I'm sure you're getting results. You have to. If you're doing that, that burns fuel. The bigger thing is diet now, and when you eat makes a difference as well. So thank you. Good question. All right. Okay, this one, Jennifer had a knee replacement last year. Can I jump with a knee replacement? We answered that. Do you get the same benefits with the health bounce compared to jumping? Yeah, you're going to get the same health benefit. I'm not sure what you mean by jumping, if you're jumping off the mat or just lifting heels up and down. You've got a little more weight when you jump higher, but this, as far as more of the benefits overall, are going to come just by staying closer to the mat. The intensity is still very, very good.
We lost camera and it came back.
Really? How come?
It just turned on. I'm just.
Ooh.
But Kelly says, can you show the jumper jump in slow motion?
The what?
The jumper jump?
Jamba jump. Jamba Run?
Yeah,
Jamba
she
Run.
said the jumper jump.
Okay, Jamba Run. Feet are spread apart.
The Jamba. Yeah.
You take the knees and push them out a little. You don't want them like this when you're doing it. You want them like this. And when you push those knees out some, it's going to help strengthen your natural alignment. Keep your back straight, your feet flat. Do not lean forward because it takes the weight off the thigh. You want to keep your back over the legs. Holding on to the balance bar, I do too. You need to, otherwise you'd fall backwards. We want to keep the weight over the thigh. That's why we keep our back straight. And then when we're moving, we push down into the mat. We're flat-footed. We're really not lifting our feet much off the mat. We're pushing down into the mat. That's the Jamba walk. And that's plenty intense. It's great. You'll start to feel that pretty quickly. The Jamba Run is done very similar, except the feet come up off the mat a little bit, and it's more intense, it's faster. So it's more like this. So my foot is coming up off the mat, but it's just a little bit. It stays really close to the mat. Okay. I need to know if the health bounce will help with urinary incontinence due to having multiple children. Thank you.
Sherry just says
Yes.
can't see below the knees.
Okay, can you hand that? Just hold it and point it down toward me.
It's just gonna follow you.
Try it. It's gonna follow me? Okay, there's a way to do that. Put it on me and double click. Double click on me. Okay, and then you'll be able to put it down. Okay, so again, can they see now?
I think so.
Can you tell if they see?
It's lagging. I just can't see. I think so.
Okay, so thanks. Thank you, Justice. You're great. Okay, so we're pushing down. I hope you can see that now. No, you can't do it that way. You'll break it. You gotta tilt it down.
It worked.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So pushing down like this. You're just pushing down into the mat. On the Jamba Run, it's faster and the foot comes up off the mat just a little bit like this. And on both, you just keep those knees kind of spread out a little bit to strengthen the alignment.
Patty says, how about using cross rope, jump rope?
If you want to use a cross rope jump rope, take off the balance bar and bounce something down on the Cellerciser, it's great. You don't have the jarring impact you would have if you were doing it on the ground. Okay. And, okay, so strengthening the sphincter muscle, it controls bladder. The sit and bounce, where you sit back a little bit, bounce up and down, tighten. That will help. As you stand on the Cellerciser, if you tighten and then bounce, you're working the Kegel method. You tighten and then bounce. Tightening is an isometric for toning and strengthening. Bouncing is an isotonic for building and strengthening. A little different. So as the muscle gets bigger and stronger, you're able to have better control. Yes?
Rebecca says, which is the best shoulder exercise for rotator cuff injury? And Cherie says, can't see below the knees. But I don't know, that was from earlier, I guess.
Okay.
But
okay. So rotator cuff, we start off with elbows in front and move up and down. I show all of these movements on the Mr. Rebounder app. So we go through 65 different movements, but we have some specific for shoulders and rehabilitating and strengthening shoulders. And it's phenomenal. I've built my shoulders, rebuilt them more than once. Okay, so we have the elbows out in front and we bounce up and down. You will feel a lot of dynamic right in the shoulder, the muscles themselves. And then from here, lift your elbows up over your head, bounce for a few moments, and then out to the side and bounce for a few moments. You'll go through this over and over until you become strong enough that you can create more leverage. And the leverage is done by holding the shoulders out in front of us. And we do circles. See, it's not like just doing this. You're bouncing, you're moving fluid, you're moving circulation. You're creating a weight-bearing activity at the cellular level. And you're accentuating that with more leverage as you're bouncing up and down. As you get to this moment or movement, then you could go to the second movement, up over your head and just do the circles, and then out to the side and do the circles, and then come back. And then we teach additional movements. Somebody called me up today to talk about how the scapula, how it helps so much in his back by doing this movement here where you pull the shoulder over and bounce up and down. And yes, it does. And you do the same thing on the other side. And then we have other additional movements for the Cellerciser that you can do. And again, it's on the Mr. Rebounder app. But yes, Justice.
Cherie just says, LOL, still can't see below the knees to see Dave's feet. Well, that one you were just talking about the arms though, right? I think she thinks you need to see your feet, but you don't need to.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm just doing the upper body right now. So feet are just bouncing up and down. Or I'm just bouncing up and down. Okay. Yes, do you have a specific move right before bed to get better sleep? Yes. Again, on the Mr. Rebounder app, we have a gentle movement that is designed to release the stress and tension in the body. The same principle that we use for babies when babies are fussy. You'll see a parent take a baby, put them over their shoulder, and just gently bounce the baby up and down. The baby relaxes. We can do the same thing for ourselves. Yes, Justice?
Robert's just wondering if we can just switch to manual so we can see the feet.
Manual?
So I just no face?
Okay, so double click on my face again to take it off, and then you can point the camera. Okay, so there we go. All right, so now you should be able to. Don't do that. Okay. Thank you guys for all your patience. This is all new to us too.
There's not.
And yeah, there's a way to manually do it. Just go ahead and I'm gonna have to
hold it.
Yeah, for the moment. Okay, can they see the feet now?
Yeah, but they can't see your face.
Okay, no, that's fine. All right, we'll continue to work on it. But this is there's a feet. I'm not sure what you're looking for. What do they want?
They just want to see your feet when you do the workouts.
Oh, okay. All I'm doing is this right now. So this is all I'm doing.
We have a question.
And go ahead, Jesse. You can set it back now.
Bobby says, I have Guillain-Barré syndrome and hard recurring fatigue days. Since Cellercising, I don't have fatigue days. I had to stop for a time, and the fatigue days came back. Started rebounding again, and the fatigue days are gone. So I guess it wasn't a question.
That is fantastic. That is so good to hear. And we do know that Cellercise works at the cellular level. And as we work at the cellular level, we also can increase mitochondria. And mitochondria is our energy. That gives us our energy and our endurance. So very good. Thank you for that. Does anyone have any suggestions for foot pain while on the Cellerciser because of flat feet? Yeah, it's going to take a little time. When you stand on the Cellerciser and you lift the heels up and down, we've got more to learn about this system. So thank you for your patience, for working with us. I have mixed emotions as far as whether we talk. Yeah, we may do it again, but I'm going to stop with the questions for a few minutes. I want to show you and explain the most important movement that we can do on a Cellerciser and why it is the most important movement. And it starts, we call it the baby bounce or health bounce. Well, I call it the baby bounce because when I was Cellercising and we had David, when we had our second child, I was on the Cellerciser and just learning basically how to do different movements. And our David, our son, was in the playpen. And while he was in the playpen, he was watching me bounce. And he would crawl up and hold on to the playpen and he'd start to bounce. He was mimicking me. He would bounce up and down, just like me. And I began to realize, wow, that's what babies do anywhere in the world. They bounce up and down in the crib. They bounce up and down on a couch or on a bed. We generally kick them off. They bounce up and down when they dance. The bouncing up and down is innate. It is that movement that has so many benefits. None of us are born with balance. We often think it has something to do with age, but it's the movement up and down that moves fluid past the stirrup, the smallest bone of our ear, representing our vestibular balance and challenging brain activity, nervous system, proprioceptors, all throughout the body. And that's at any age how we can improve our balance or even get our balance. And so it's just this movement up and down that's so critical because that's going to affect our performance in our day-to-day activity. But it goes well beyond that. The moment we move up and down on the Cellerciser, we help to break up sticky blood cells. Hardening of the arteries is the #1 degenerative disease. It's why body parts and functions begin to break down. And we've seen this under microscopes. When a person becomes more acidic, a lot of it has to do with our diet, the stresses that we're under today. As the body becomes acidic, and we can see it especially in the morning when we take blood samples, the blood cells get sticky. And when the blood cells get sticky, they don't circulate effectively. So they lose fluid, they look more like a football. They're not in a healthy state. It's hard for the heart to pump sticky blood cells through the capillaries. So capillaries begin to shrink. Body functions get weaker. We buy into that as part of the aging process. And the cells don't get old. They're always replacing themselves. Yes, we'll go through an aging process, but the symptoms or weaknesses of the aging process, to a large degree, we can avoid that. And Dr. Morton Walker said the same thing. So when we get on a Cellerciser and we start to move up and down just like this, lift the heels up and down a little bit. As we're moving up and down, the blood cells are weightless weight. They have a sodium potassium pump. They're positively and negatively charged just like a battery. So as we move up and down, they literally generate an electrical field of energy that grows around the outside of the cell membrane. We've seen it under something called Carillion photography. My blood as well. And as we create or generate that energy field, that separates the blood cells from each other. They're no longer sticky. The movement up and down helps the body or the blood cells to absorb more oxygen, nutrients, and fluids. So instead of looking like a football, they become round again. They're separated, they're oxygenated, they're energized. We're moving up and down. 3 to 5 minutes, we've seen these changes. 3 to 5 minutes. So when I was doing my business plan, they said, David, who's your target audience? I said, people. And they laughed and they said, no, you need to narrow your audience. And I said, no, you need to broaden yours. If you had any idea what this is doing for people of all ages, the moment they get on a Cellerciser and they move up and down, this is the wake-up call. This is the moving up and down. That stimulates the thyroid. The thyroid's doing this. The endocrine system, liver, kidney, spleen, gallbladder, pancreas, adrenals, everything is being massaged. You're weightless weight. I've had chi masters tell me your chi energy is pretty strong, and it's strongest when I'm at the top of the bounce. That's interesting because at the top of the bounce, you release gravity. There's no restrictions on the body. So for that moment, everything can flow right through the body without restrictions, and then you come down. Why is that so important? Because we want to increase that circulation to areas of the body that have stress or tension or inflammation or blockages. And as we move up and down, it's literally like an internal scrub brush. All the fluids move up and down. We help backflush valves. We help open up capillaries. You've got this one-way valve. As you move up, that valve is shut. As you come down, it opens up. When you have millions of one-way valves, you're pumping with the heart. You're making it easier on the heart to get the benefits of Cellercise. Is still all weight-bearing, not weightlifting. So it helps to strengthen muscles, bones, connective tissues, ligaments, tendons, skin, collagen, fascia. Tell me what exercise does that. Most exercises, you work only certain muscle groups. You don't treat the body collectively as a whole. You tear down to build up. Cellercise takes the very weakest of your cells. It just builds them up. That's what we want. We want to strengthen and improve circulation. We don't want to limit it and improve body parts and functions, and that's Cellercise. So this moving up and down helps to do that. What about skin? What about collagen? As we're moving up and down on a Cellerciser, for those who are losing weight, we want to lose weight, but you also want to strengthen the skin so it can tone up as well. How do you get a skin cell to do a push-up while you're losing weight? Cellercise helps to strengthen, tighten, and tone all these muscles so that the skin is not as loose on you. We want that. We want the skin to firm up. That lady wrote me a beautiful review. She said, David, as I was hitting midlife, I felt like everything was headed south. Now that I've been Cellercising, I feel like everything's headed north again. So this moving up and down is weight bearing to all areas of the body. Now we can incorporate and use that. Let's hold on, Justice. Let's incorporate and use that movement for other areas of our body. So if we want to tighten and tone, as we do the baby bounce, the most important movement, we can tighten our chest. When we tighten our chest and we bounce up and down, we're putting more weight on the chest, but we're toning the chest as well. So this is a movement. The moment we squeeze these muscles, tighten these muscles, we help to move fluid through all these interstitial areas of the chest. We also flex and we help to squeeze lymphatic fluid, which the Cellerciser is helping to do anyway because we have resistance. If it was too soft, obviously the cells, they don't respond the same. So we have to have resistance for the cell to fortify its membrane. We have to have resistance to move fluid. If it's too soft or sluggish, we're not going to get the same benefit. We're going to have to work a lot harder. But when we tighten these muscles and then bounce for 15, 20, 30 seconds, it's an isometric with an isotonic. So it helps to build and strengthen. We can do the same thing with our shoulders. We can do the same thing with our arms. When we flex our arms and hold and flex while we're bouncing up and down, we're going to help to tone our muscles in our arms and build them as well. Now we do other movements that you've seen me do as well, but that's going to help to tighten and tone. When we strengthen and really tighten our stomach muscles, we tighten and we hold those stomach muscles tight. And as we do that, it may take 30 seconds or a minute before you feel that burn. It's like, oh my, I really feel that. Well, sure, you're tightening it and building it because it's weight bearing and toning. The same thing with our thighs and our buttocks. You can tighten the thighs and the buttocks, really hold them tight. And in the sphincter muscle, the bladder, that whole area as well. And as you hold them tight and bounce, you'll start to burn fuel. You're burning you're toning, you're building and strengthening, all at the same time. It's that same movement that we can use to target our bronchial tubes and our lungs. So as we're moving up and down, and I've been on the phone all day long today, so my voice is sounding like I can feel it. But most people, as you've heard me talk about it, we only use the first 2/3 of our lung. We don't really get the other 1/3. When we start to move up and down, we do the power breathing. It's a technique I developed over 20 years ago that I think is going to catch on. It's probably the third most important movement we can do on the Cellerciser. But we breathe in and out, and we simply go. Oh, that feels good. Can you hear the difference in the voice? I didn't do anything. It just opens up the larynx. It's absolutely amazing what that does. But it opens up the bronchial tubes. It opens up the larynx. It gets oxygen to the other 1/3 of the lungs that most people don't get enough oxygen to. If you're a singer or you're an announcer or a radio announcer, it really helps to strengthen diaphragmatic breathing and open that up. And I'm glad you had a chance to hear that because it's remarkable. So this movement up and down, as we move up and down, we take the weakest area of circulation in the body, which is in the lower extremities, where we can get edema, swelling, varicose veins, neuromas, or neuropathy, and we start to move up and down. We lift our heels up and down. It pumps the calf muscle. As we pump the calf muscle, it feeds that circulation through the one-way valves back up to the heart. It can help reduce edema, swelling, and varicose veins because it helps to move the circulation. What's being done? All we're doing is the baby bounce. This movement up and down. This is the most important. If you did nothing more than this, we have people that have been doing it for well over 25 years, and they're in their 90s now. They're still enjoying a quality of life. All they do is the baby bounce. So that is the number one most important physical activity I believe all of us can do every day of our life if we want to live a longer, stronger, healthier, more productive life. We're working with balance, we're working with strength, we're working with flexibility. As we move up and down, we take every cell membrane, and we massage it to increase flexibility. So you're not just stretching muscles, you're stretching cell membranes. You're increasing flexibility of the membrane itself. And what I tell people is before you get on to Cellercise, if you try to touch your toes, and then you get on again and do your routine, and then try to touch your toes again, you see how much further you go down. Well, that increase of flexibility is throughout the entire body. Now, there's other movements that we can do to enhance it. Justice, can you move the camera to make sure that they can see this? I don't know if they can do this or not. I'm squatting down. If you take and you hold on to the mat and you do, we call it like a little squat, and you gently bounce in this position, you can help loosen up the lower back as well. So that's just another movement I wanted to share because somebody was bringing up today, being able to do something like this. Thank you, Justice. Being able to sit down and just, squat, and that's great. But when you're on a Cellerciser and you're doing it, you're helping to loosen those muscles, so that makes that easier, and it helps to thank you, Justice. It helps to loosen the lower back as well. So, baby bounce, most important activity we can do for a myriad of different reasons, but that is some of the benefits that I wanted to be able to share with you. Justice, you have another question?
Yeah, the first one is from Geraldine Diataco and then Shuri Lingscott. Both wonder, how long or how many minutes do you jump per day?
I do about a 10-minute routine. It can go a little longer with the Mr. Rebounder app because I like to pick a different routine, and some of those are longer. And what we do in our home is we turn on, I've got a television monitor right in front of me. We turn on a television show. We turn on the app. We put the app, we've got a little, I can either use this here, or we've got our phone holder, and we just attach our phone holder to the unit, put the phone on it, and we hit the Mr. Rebounder app. Now it's got a little mute button in the bottom left-hand side. It's got a couple eighth notes. You click the eighth notes, and it silences the music. And then you can watch your show which I'm watching the show, ding, it'll ding in between each movement. Ding, look down, next show, next movement, I do the next movement. Watch the show, ding, next movement. I watch the show, and you've got over 45 follow-along routines that you can pick from for everything from weight loss to muscle building to digestion, elimination, knee problems, hip problems, back problems, shoulder problems. You've got all those opportunities. Yes, Justice.
And then Sherry was wondering, when you were doing the baby bounce, how long should we do this baby bounce every day?
Okay, the baby bounce is interesting because you start off, when you first begin, start off easy, and you can do it short periods of time, several times a day. It's going to take a few weeks for the internal structure, all the connective tissue and the fascia to really start to firm up, and it supports our internal organs. And then we have a chart. You can download it. It's free. It's called Cellercise.com/user guide. The second to the last page has a chart for recommendations how to begin the first, second, third, and fourth week. It's downloadable. It's free. But when you, I'll give you an example. We've got Rachel's one of our wonderful part of our Cellercise family. She got on the Cellerciser and she'd watch a whole program for 30 minutes, and she'd just bounce up and down for 30 minutes. And you can tighten all these areas of the body, and it tones everything up. It's great. She watches her show, and she commented that she had muscles popping out all over her body. She was toning up. She was losing weight. She was feeling great. She wasn't doing anything. I said, well, now wait a minute. I said, when you move up and down on a Cellerciser, you're putting weight on every cell membrane, not by lifting weight away from gravity, but by increasing the weight of gravity. It's just, we don't limit the effect. So now you have 75 trillion cells flexing 100 times a minute, not just a few muscle groups. So that's what makes it so effective, so efficient, fun, easy, convenient, safe, and it's even portable. Any other questions, Justice?
No.
Okay, so I apologize for the camera. We'll see if we can do some editing on it to get it to work better. We'll go back to the drawing board. I believe eventually this is going to be a better way of doing it. It's just going to take a little bit of time for us to work through the bugs, but hey, if we don't, that's growing pains. That's what we have to go through to get to where we want to be. And it's the same thing for all of us. Let's enjoy the journey, right, Justice? We're going to enjoy. Go ahead. What?
Marisa says, I understand you do not give medical advice, but what recommendations might you have for someone with degenerative disc disease to start easy after a sciatic flare-up?
Oh, yeah.
Or sciatic.
Sciatic. Okay, so Cellercise, there are several approaches we can take for the back. And I've taught many of the movements. But standing on the Cellerciser, moving up and down gently, helps to warm up the tissue. Then as we spread the feet apart a little bit, and this may be the lady that called me up earlier today on this. I'm glad she brought it up. Then from the baby bounce, we're warming up the tissue. Then we can do the hip rock side to side. As we do the hip rock, we're pushing down into the mat. You saw how I was doing this earlier. We're just pushing down into the mat. We can take our shoulders, stand tall. Oh, baby bounce. One more thing I have to share on the baby bounce. Stand tall, just pump the shoulders a little bit so that we're starting to loosen the muscles along the vertebral joints in the back. If you're able, now if that's too painful initially, we don't do that. But you have to be sensitive to your body. And then the gentle twist. Okay, this hip movement, side to side, is going to loosen up and strengthen the supporting muscles and ligaments around the hips. When we do the twist, we start to loosen up the back, especially the lower back, where that sciatic nerve wraps around that hip area. We're loosening up those muscles. Then we take the hips, we hold them straight ahead, and we simply do the hip socket area. So our waist is straight in front of us. We're twisting just our feet and our knees in the hip socket area. That helps to open up that hip area where that nerve wraps around. We've known people within a month that have just been absolutely wonderful. Okay.
And then Sherry says, my arms have never improved.
Oh, Sherry, do some of the arm movements that I teach on the Mr. Rebounder app. They will. We talk about how to improve arms. But when you also do the tension movements, when you tense up the body and bounce, you're going to improve the arms and the strength of the arms too. It's all weight bearing. It has to. And again, like I said, my wife asked me after 1 month, she said, are you lifting weights? No, just Cellercising. Any other questions, Justice?
Nope.
Okay, Justice says our computer is about ready to die. So we have more work we need to do as far as getting all this together. I appreciate that. Thank you, Justice, for your patience and help. Thank you, all of you, for your patience and your help. I hope there's something I've shared today that is beneficial to you. And if you feel it is helpful to others, please feel free to share it. Thank you. We may go through and just redo a session of this because of all the technicalities. But hey, enjoy the journey. It's the same thing with our physical health. It's not the destination. You want to enjoy the journey. You'll get to the destination. Thank you. Remember, you don't have to work out when you can play in. Enjoy. I want to share one more thing. When you do the baby bounce, if you lift your chest high, roll your shoulders back a little bit, pull the chin in slightly, and bounce up and down, you're going to support your natural alignment, and the muscles are going to flex around that alignment. So when you're doing the baby bounce, if you're sensitive to that, that's going to help as well. Thank you. God bless. Have a happy Valentine's Day. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.